What if taking care of your health wasn't just about, diet and exercise? What if it was about an AI,
Mm.
like actually living inside of you,
Mhm.
an AI ecosystem?
Oh, wow. That's a pretty wild thought.
Yeah, and that's kind of the future that Amalia Kovač is inviting us to think about with Symbiosis, a
Mhm.
folkloric vision of AI-mediated wellness.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really fascinating concept. It really pushes the boundaries of how we think about healthcare, right? Instead of just like taking medicine or, going to the doctor, it's like having this internal system that's always working to, keep you healthy.
Yeah, so it's this bio-regenerative implant, and the visuals is pretty striking, right? It's got these Slovakian folk patterns etched onto it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it glows a little bit.
Huh.
Like it's hinting at like all this complex stuff happening underneath.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's not just like a purely functional thing. There's some like artistic or cultural element to it too.
Right, exactly. Like Kovač is trying to bridge, tradition and technology. Like those two things can go together.
Oh, I see.
But the function of the implant, that's even more interesting. It basically cultivates your gut microbiota.
Oh, wow. So that's like all the bacteria and microorganisms that live in our digestive system.
Exactly. And we're just starting to understand like how important that stuff is for our health.
Totally. It's like it affects everything: digestion, immunity, even our mental health.
And Kovač is saying that, if we can manage that ecosystem carefully, we can prevent like tons of diseases.
Yeah. So it's almost like having like a tiny AI gardener living in your gut, making sure everything's, balanced and healthy.
Right. And this isn't just about individual health. Kovač imagines this being part of a world where there's bioregenerative architecture, urban farms, like everything is contributing to well-being.
Okay, so it's a more like a holistic approach then. Your health is tied to the health of your community and the environment.
Exactly. So this Kovač, they seem like a really interesting person. Like they have a background in AI and biology, and they even like use music and soundscapes in their design process.
Wait, really? Music and soundscapes? That's so cool.
Yeah, it's like they're not just designing a thing, they're trying to create like a whole experience.
I see what you mean. They're bringing together all these different fields to imagine this future where tech and biology work together.
Exactly. But how does this thing actually work, right? Like, how does an AI manage your gut microbiome?
Yeah.
And is this even possible?
Right, right. Well, we have to remember that this is, speculative design. Like, Kovač isn't saying this is going to happen tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah.
They're just trying to get us to think about the possibilities.
So it's more about what if than will it.
Exactly. Like, what if this did happen? What would that mean for us? What would the benefits be? What kind of challenges would we have to face? Like, those are the questions Kovač is asking.
Well, I mean, if you think about like personalized medicine, and how fast AI is developing, it doesn't sound, that crazy.
Right. We've already got personalized nutrition plans and stuff. AI is getting really good at analyzing, like, biological data.
Exactly. So like imagine an AI that's constantly monitoring your gut, right? And then it adjusts what the implant does based on that. Maybe it even tells you what to eat, to keep your digestion good and boost your immunity.
It's pretty cool to think about, but it also makes me a little nervous, Like, are we basically just giving up control of our health to an AI?
I think it's a really important question to think about. Where's the balance between technology and our own choices?
Right. Like, will we get lazy? Just rely on the AI to take care of everything. It's definitely a possibility, but I think it could also make us more aware of our health. Like, what if you had this constant stream of data about how your body's doing?
Yeah, I guess that could help you make better decisions.
Right. It's like having a personal health coach, basically.
Yeah, I like that. But then there's the question of, like, who's in charge, right? Is it me, the AI, or the company that made the implant?
Exactly. That's something we need to figure out with any new technology. Who has the control? How transparent is it?
Yeah, and what about bias? Like if the AI is trained on data from a specific group of people, could it be unfair to others?
Absolutely. Making sure these technologies are fair and accessible to everyone is crucial. Like, where's the data coming from? How are the algorithms designed? Can everyone afford it? All those things are super important.
So it's not just about the technology itself, right? It's about the whole social and ethical side of things.
Exactly. That's what makes speculative design so powerful. It gets us thinking about these big questions before the technology is even here.
And it's cool how Kovač brings in their Slovakian heritage too. Like those folk patterns on the implant aren't just random.
Right. It's like they're saying you don't have to throw away your culture to embrace technology.
Right. You can have both.
Exactly. It's about finding ways to make them work together. And I think that's a really hopeful message.
So we've talked about the potential and the ethics, but like, how would you even make something like this? What materials would you use?
Well, that's where things get really speculative. Kovač doesn't give us all the answers.
Right. Like, what are bio-regenerative materials?
Basically, it's like the material itself is alive, you know? It can interact with your body on a cellular level.
Whoa. So it wouldn't be like a normal implant, like metal or plastic.
Right. It'd be more like an extension of your own body.
That's wild.
We're talking bioengineering, nanotechnology, like really advanced stuff.
But wouldn't your body reject it? You know? Like, how would you make sure it's safe?
Those are huge challenges. Like, we need a lot more research to figure that out. But even if we can't build a Kovač implant right now, scientists are working on these problems, you know?
It seems like this bio-regenerative stuff could be used for all kinds of things.
Oh, absolutely. It could revolutionize medicine, you know? Regenerative medicine, prosthetics, even devices that enhance what our bodies can do.
That's amazing and kind of scary at the same time.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about. And that's why these conversations are so important. We need to start thinking about the future now, both the good and the bad.
So what can we do, like, as individuals, to make sure this technology is used responsibly?
I think the first step is just being aware, learn about these new technologies, talk about them, you know, push for ethical guidelines and regulations.
Right, we all have a part to play.
Exactly. We need to make sure this technology benefits everyone, not just a few.
Kovač work really makes you think, you know? It's like a call to action.
Absolutely. They're saying, hey, the future's up to us. Let's shape it together.
So Kovač is really making us rethink, like, what's technology and what's biology, you know? Where's the line?
Yeah, it's getting blurry, right? Like, if this implant is made from living material and it's part of your body, is it still technology?
Right, and if technology can actually improve our health, can we really call it unnatural?
I mean, it kind of makes you wonder, you know? Like, are we entering this new era where tech and biology, they're not separate anymore?
It's like a symbiosis, right? Not just between humans and tech, but between tech and life itself.
Exactly. And that brings up some pretty big questions. Like, what does it even mean to be human if our bodies are merging with technology?
That's like that old question, but now it's like actually happening.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. And it means we need to keep having these conversations, you know, about the ethics, the social impact, all of it.
Yeah.
We got to make sure this future is good for everyone.
So for our listeners who are like just starting to wrap their heads around all this, what's the one thing they should take away from all this, like about Kovač symbiosis?
I think the biggest thing is that the future isn't set in stone, you know? Like, we have a choice in how this all plays out.
Kovač work is like a wake-up call.
Yeah.
It's saying, hey, pay attention. This stuff is coming. Let's talk about it. Let's make sure we do it right.
Absolutely. And as we go forward, we need to remember that technology should be a tool for good. You know, it should help people, not the other way around. We need to think about ethics, about fairness, about making sure everyone benefits.
That's a great point. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Kovač symbiosis on exploring futures. If you found this interesting, tell a friend, share the episode. Let's keep this conversation going. The future is something